Excuse me. And game 4 is on, with glass being the thing. Look at this market, it's horrendous. It's like worse than normal market, because everything is so low. This can be very awkward. This is an okay-ish scavenger. Just settle over here, hope to upgrade quick. This is a decent whatever you want to found in here. Anything works really. And PBK is going to go for a very early scientist that I didn't even take the time to look at, which is an unbelievable scientist, by the way. Definitely the found on this map. With glass being an expensive thing, the only problem is this found is that glass isn't directly adjacent. And if that's your biggest problem with the found, then I think you got a god found or something. Or demigod, I should say. Hi-Ho is going to be the basic expensive over here, which is a very solid choice. Scavenger over here for Polina, and Space Oddity is struggling because, if you ask me, the correct play would be on the Silicon as power robot. Definitely. Definitely on the Silicon, nothing else. Instead, Space Oddity is going to struggle to found. Still no good spots found, and
Scavenger HQ has been upgraded.
I'm a bit confused by that. So we are seeing a scav, kind of a desperate scav, but still a scav. Unfortunately, once that glass was taken, it was a bit difficult to found robot, but still it was possible. And power robot, well, the problem was it was late. A scientist who's ahead in upgrades is very impressive and very scary. He did take a lot of that for it.
The black market is
He took at least 40,000, I think. Not sure actually. Polina is going to make glass, which makes good sense. This early on, even though I maybe would prefer food a little bit, just a little bit. Then again, the colony is consuming glass, so it's actually probably a better choice. Hi-Ho is moving into food instead, which is very good and very understandable. A scientist who is making... By the way, there were combo tiles on top of everything else. Crazy. He's muling. It's an okay choice, I guess. Maybe I would probably prefer a cheap goon squad just for future, but muling is good as well. And he's first HQ level 3, and this freeze is not very efficient because he's a scientist. More aluminium, good. Food please here, and just proceed to win. Power is really important. He's moving the glass instead, which does make sense as well. Polina is shortly behind with food.
New land is available for auction.
Yeah, in sync, it's impossible to enjoy both simultaneously. The problem with being turn-based, it's going to take twice as long, and that means that 4 people at all times have to sit out and wait, which is downtime, which is not a good idea. I was not actually expecting people to be able to watch both streams, especially just based on how much I'm babbling and how quickly, but rather people would be watching mostly Zoltar, and they can check my VOD later on if they're curious about the second group. Anyway, Hi-Ho is behind in upgrades and he needs to get ahead. Space RT is behind. Carbon is a bit expensive, but I like seeing money being made. The problem with that money being made is that reactors are just not expensive at all. And BB Head is finally moving into I believe he started an auction. No, it was an actual natural auction.
The black market is open for business.
But yes, this geothermal is quite trollful. For Hi-Ho, no potential for a superconductor. It's just a decent play, I guess. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of being jerk. taking geos like that. Scavenger is up to HQ level 4, whereas BB had. He is HQ level 3 alright, but he paid a lot of debt and he is struggling. I'm wondering if Palina is going to move into immediate wind turbines here in the middle of nowhere just to milk this storm, because it will be a strong choice in my opinion. Instead, a second geothermal, which is decent. But I would like to see 2 wind turbines like here, maybe, at least for now. And the farm over here, then you will later, well, maybe no, maybe a water tile here and 2 wind turbines here, and then transition aluminium into triangle, something like that. BBhead, on the other hand, is going to upgrade soon, but he's in D levels of debt and his power is being slowed down. He does have a monopoly on silicon for now. So if not for the power problems, I would say that he needs to just quickly get stuff done, build hack array, hack silicon. This is going to be a big deal though. Weak wind, who cares? Very weak, in fact, but who cares? It's still making money. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough, especially with Palina's 2 geothermal plants. They're making bank. And that is a curious choice. The Metal Mine Optimization Center. Definitely going to work. Expensive water because Space Oddity is not really making much water. And Hi-Ho is definitely not making enough water as well. And BBhead just has no reason to make water. A claim for 20,000 for Palina. That is okay. That's quite okay. In fact, that's very good. And that's a natural shortage. I'd like to point out that 4 games in a row I'm seeing no holograms. I do wonder.
The black market is open for business.
What Palina is going to do, because Optimization Center is great, but you also kind of need to make something that is worth something. That's a bit of an issue. Cheap chemicals are going to be a good boon in that sense. BBhead is still in D levels of debt, but he's close to be out of D debt. Unfortunate part is that he's not quite there to upgrade, because he devoted all this time to fighting off his debt. And I would like to point out that he just now started selling down food. He was not doing that. He was trying to make sure that he's repaying debt. Instead, he's going to have 30% interest and 40k. I think that 40k on found is a bit silly for this found. He does have cash, and he could attack Palina, but Palina is going to probably be cautious enough, I would hope, because that's a lot of cash somehow. I guess that water play really paid off really well. Hi-Ho is now HQ4 and making water and making food, making life support and making steel, and he can actually upgrade as well, but I wouldn't be doing that if I was him, because, you know, you can die really quick if you do that when your opponents are sitting on stockpiles of cash and not spending it at all. Definitely curious to know what BBhead is going to do to pull himself out of the 180,000 of debt that he has with power at $5. Hi-Ho is being cautious and protecting himself, which is a good move. Slant Drilling is going to make... Slant Drilling is an interesting choice. I'm not sure I understand it. I think he wants to get Slant Drilling to get the medium silicon. I would assume that's the only thing that he can do with it. That's a good pleasure dome. In fact, I'd like to point out that the fact that no one built a pleasure dome this game is atrocious, because there is an expansive well, it's not atrocious, I guess. There is a scientist. Still, it's going to be a good pleasure dome. It's going to be a great pleasure dome. BB really wants to pay 16,000 debt for it, though. I have a strong feeling that somehow BBhead is not going to win this game. Because how do you find this debt? How do you really fight this debt? Haiho has quite a bit of debt as well, with just one geotherm running for a long time, and a lot of reactors and steel and whatnot. Space Oddity. A bit of late power, which is not worth anything, quite frankly, and you want to transition this ASAP. You want to move into glass. To hell with silicon prices, you want to get glass. Except silicon could actually just drive the game in BBHead's favor, because this is not a bad decision to move into 4, because no one was moving into those. I don't know why. I do wonder who is muling it, though. I would imagine Palina could be muling it. That's the second optimization center. Effectively, Palina is banking on a long game, which is not a bad thing. I enjoy seeing 2 optimization centers. I would also heavily enjoy seeing some glass, which I am. I would also enjoy seeing some teleportation from Haiho, maybe. He has 3 claims, so yeah, I think he wants to move into this silicon. Like over here. Other than that, I don't really see what he's going to do. And BBHead is attacking Palina aggressively, who is going to defend, and he's going to sell out. The problem is he's got 300,000 debt. How do you repay that? Offworlds, by the way, are okay. They're good actually. They're better than okay, but not stellar. Oh, but Space Oddity is not sitting on a lot of stock, on a big stockpile. That's a problem.
Your stock is being sold.
Unfortunately. Thankfully, Palina is actually willing to sell. No. She finished the kill. Unfortunately, Space Oddity fails to stay in the game again. That's unfortunate. It took way too long to found, because all the 3 decent spots were taken, and apparently going Power Robot was just not something Space Oddity is comfortable with, because it takes some guts to try the Power Robot out for the first time, definitely. And I don't remember Space Oddity playing the game when Power Robot became really popular. So Haiho definitely moved into these 2 tiles. That's an auction. That's another auction that goes BBHead's way, which is not an auction from the black market. It's just an actual real auction, which is hard to understand. Yeah, wanting the scientist spot is definitely understandable, and it's also understandable that you didn't take it because BBHead just paid way too much for it, in my opinion. At this point, it's yet another 3-way race. Haiho is getting teleportation, which is going to be important for him. Not hugely important, but important enough. I still don't like the fact that none of the patent labs so far in all the games have gone for FI, except for Haiho this game. I applaud you, sir. That's going to be huge. I missed when you bought it. Was it before teleportation? Was it before slant drilling? Maybe was it? Yes, it was before teleportation. It's definitely going to be a big deal. In fact, let's see how much you're going to get. Any moment now. 27,000 from BBHead. Jesus, is that good? What? BBHead in almost 500,000 debt. Oh my god. I think BBHead is going for the achievement at this point. He does have an off-world market, which is a good off-world market. He has a hacker array, which is a good hacker array. I would imagine electronics being the thing to hack this game, because no one is in them. But hey, 4.5 thousand for dynamite, and you can never get out of D-debt. And you're playing against a scavenger, and goons are 30k anyway. And the dynamite is at 4.5k. I don't know if the software will have a send. I don't think it will. Food shortage. That's something I didn't expect, because everyone turned off their food except for the AI. I don't understand this shortage. I think BBHead should read my guide. You want to hack stuff people aren't producing. Food is not one of such things, especially if it's worth nothing. It's 28 per piece. I just don't like. I don't like BB Head dying to death this game. I would, however, much appreciate Polina moving it to an off-world, which I am indeed seeing right now. Food is going to be a stellar send. Maybe the shortage is meant to like make it harder to send it or something, but that's a questionable shortage when you can just make cash off of the electronics. Because people are going to attack your off-world. They're not going to attack your hack array, so you can just hack as much as your heart desires. And look at this pleasure dome for BB Head, 230 a second. Now, if Hi-Ho could build a pleasure dome here and add VR to it, that would be pretty big. Nanotech is decent. Carbon scrubbing is decent. It's most decent. It's good, actually. It's very good. And am I seeing a... I'm not seeing any upgrades. That's something I don't like. I would like you to upgrade once your carbon production, I think. Off-world not sending. Should have prepared the send, but it's not a big deal. I'd like to point out that the sub is making very mediocre money. I mean, 100 for 7 shares. It's a bit weak. And Hi-Ho is moving in no fault of his own, and he will have thinking machines. He does have a bit of debt, quite a bit of debt. He also got almost 40k off of BB Head, who now has 650,000 debt. I would like Polina to buy him out, or Hi-Ho. He's close to that point when he can be bought out easily. He does have cash, plenty of it, but he's also kind of dead this game. If they don't buy him for another day, then they'll buy him for like 5,000 per share. And they're both racing for him, which is something I like to see. I think we're going to actually see a... Polina can do it. We're not going to see a close race. Polina can just do it right now. Done. That's going to be an insanely profitable sub, which means I think Polina actually has this game now. Because BB Head decided to die to death. Which is unfortunate, of course. And I'm seeing a hack, which may have been from BB Head's hack array. I kind of missed the point when it happened, when he switched from food hack, because food hack was quite frankly bad. A power surge is going to be an interesting black market item. Now, Polina needs to buy her stock. That is actually a good point. To be honest, I don't remember any black market landing on someone else either, which we can actually check really well easily. Space Oddity didn't attack anyone, BB Head didn't attack anyone. Polina apparently attacked you 6 times in Hi-Ho once, and Hi-Ho attacked you once. I would argue that there wasn't a lot of BM, but there was enough to knock you out of the game, and you can't really blame these players for doing that, because, I mean, you were very vulnerable. That game very vulnerable, and yeah, it was just very tough to get out of that dead hole. But Polina is going to start buying Hi-Ho stock, not even defending their own stock, just straight up buying your opponent out. And spies are useful. Spies are good. Second offworld is also useful and good, because offworlds are really good. But the question is there enough time for this offworld to pay off? That's the big question. The AI is going to be nice enough to keep carbon quite expensive for Polina to use. Hi-Ho is definitely ignoring those prices from carbon scrubbing, and he still hadn't gotten thinking machines. I don't like that. In fact, he moved out of his patent lab. I don't like that at all. Thinking machines are good. They really are. At this point we're just sitting there and waiting. Paulina does have quite a bit of debt, which means that financial instruments are still quite good. I don't believe I was targeting Hi-Ho when... In fact, did BB Head die before that? That's the question. I think he did. But anyway, Paulina is making over 1,000 per second off of BB Head. And not securing stock might not actually be so big of a deal. But it probably is a good idea to do it anyway. In fact, I kinda like securing some stock but not all of it, because it's just... it's not very safe of a play. It is a play. This patent lab for thinking machines, please do it, please. It's not as good for Paulina, because this off-world is in a bit of an awkward place, but for Hi-Ho this is going to be a big chance to do the thinking machines thing, which he didn't choose to do. I don't like that. I think that was a mistake. I would imagine that something like VR and just a pleasure dome over there can work out, if nothing else. It's not too expensive. Instead we're going to see water engine, which I don't like. Not shipping much. Yeah, it's a bit of a mediocre patent, to say the least. Either way, Paulina has a big stock advantage. Paulina has a lot of tech advantage. You can see that a lot of food and oxygen production had been improved. Some chems, some electronics. Everything isn't good. Everything is well and optimized. On the other hand, Hi-Ho has two off-worlds. Both good. No thinking machines. Definitely a huge stock disadvantage. No sub-income. No optimizations, but two off-worlds. So there was a hologram of the auction, which means this is a hologram's off-world. And there comes the slowdown strike, making Hi-Ho's life terrible. At this point I think Paulina will outpace him easily. There's very little he can do. That's a blown up off-world, that's annoying, definitely. It's still frozen. But there's really little you can do. EMPs are 4,500 per unit still. By the way, we seem to be running just a little bit behind the schedule. It's actually not so bad, I just noticed that. Also, I will need a short break after this game. At this point it's just us watching and staring at the race between the two players. It is a bit interesting though how it turned out to happen, because BB Head died to death, Space Oddity just failed to defend himself. And Paulina moving into those early optimizations is really making me happy. I kind of want her to win just based off of that, because I just like early optimizations. They're good. They're really good. That's a good freeze. Players are repaying some of their debts, just trying to stay within the opportunities of using the black market. But yeah, 75%. Hi-Ho is not quite being able to get there. Somehow my games are really so long. And Paulina has 100%.
The black market is open for business.
As the launch went off. Question is, are we gonna buy or what? We are, and that's the game.